Today we are going to recount telling our children about cancer. I don't know where we're going with this, but hopefully it'll be beneficial for everybody.
I don't know, I'm already in a corner. It's hard. I mean, it's probably one of those things that I think we talked about the least. At least I
Like how we
remember,
would do it.
yeah, I remember we were kind of like, well, this is really tough. And in all fairness, our firstborn was still very young. And so it wasn't necessarily about explaining, what's going on and da da da, but I remember like, okay, shoot, I gotta go to the hospital and I'm not gonna come home and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna look weird. And like, how do I prepare my child for that? And clearly already, even though maybe young, I think she could feel something is wrong. Like, there was just a lot of crying, a lot of like fear going on in the house, and kids are sensitive enough. So I think for me, it was like something we didn't really talk about. It was more like, okay, shoot, I gotta go to the hospital. Let's at least say something. And then I think we agreed to say not necessarily what cancer is and explain that, but more like, daddy needs to go to the hospital. They need to operate because there's something that's really bad for him and they need to take it out. In my case, it was a testicle, which at the time, my daughter, I don't know if she or I called it the penis ball. I remember that.
That happened later on.
Later on.
Like 6 months post op. I remember that.
Because we like nudity in our family is a fine topic. So like having like
Meaning
12
like
staples.
Open.
Yeah, it's open. Having like 12 staples in my groin and missing a testicle, like a child will be able to say or see something is not right, right? So at least we had the conversation to say, daddy's gonna go to the hospital. They need to take something out that's really bad, and daddy's gonna be fine. I think there was a big emphasis on like like it's scary, yes, but I'm gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And that's not easy.
Yeah, and I think I told Amaya a couple times, like, Daddy feels really scared right now. And I could tell she didn't really understand why.
Yeah.
And I didn't go into much detail, but, we just kind of said, to me, it felt very important to just name the emotion, to recognize that it was there. So we weren't avoiding it or dancing around it or pretending like it was a bad, terrible, forbidden thing,
And that being said, I can also see why maybe parents decide not to really say a lot.
Yeah.
Because it's not an easy conversation to have. And
especially when you don't know the outcome.
Yeah, you don't know the outcome, and on top of that, if you also don't want to burden your child. Like I can also see how somebody says, look, this is tough enough. I don't want to burden the kid. Definitely something that we did not read upon or we didn't educate ourselves. Like I think there are certain things we could educate ourselves. I think this was a topic where we went with our gut parenting style of being rather open than being closed. And I don't know, I think then when you had the cancer a year ago ish, it was a bit easier because we could kind of relate back to it, right? We could say like, hey, remember when daddy had the surgery, something bad needed to come out. I think we could kind of relate to that. And probably give a better sense of security.
And I think with Amaya, we were already calling it cancer by the time I had it. Because I mean, let's be clear, she was 3 when you had it. So, like, it's just a concept that doesn't
make no sense.
Make a lot of sense. So we kind of explained a little bit what it was then, because she was 6 when I had cancer. And I remember asking her, I remember saying, look, I feel really scared right now. Before I went into the hospital for surgery, I said, do you feel scared? And she looked at me and she goes, no. I was like, okay.
Good for you.
That's good. I love you.
Yeah. Sounds like our daughter, by the way.
And I even explained it to Max. Max was 4 months old when I had surgery, and I told him, I said, I'm gonna go away for a few days. I'm not gonna be able to hold you. I feel very guilty and very sorry, and it's not your fault. Like, I remember it was almost like just speaking my own feelings aloud with him there, and that helped me with him. Didn't make it perfect by any means, but
well, he missed you. He especially missed the breast milk, let's be honest. So
yeah, to me it just felt better.
Yeah.
I feel like it helped him a little bit, but it really helped me. Just saying this is what's going to happen.
And I guess that's where we're not therapists, but you probably also just have to decide what's the right thing for your kids, but also what's the right thing for you in that moment. Because if it's not right for you, maybe it's not going to be right for them anyways.
Yeah. And I mean, we're true believers that there's no such thing as best for me and worse for you. There might be a perception of that, but if something is really best for me, if it's really in line with my highest good, it's in line with the highest good of every single member of our family. It doesn't mean there won't be pushback. But I mean, it's truly, it's putting the mask on first in the airplane. And then I think we did pretty well. I mean, as well as we could have under the extreme weight of the situation, but just saying like, look, this is what I need right now.
Yeah, and I think it's really important for the partner to try to help the other one to figure out what do you need right now. I think that's something you would ask me quite a bit when I was diagnosed, and something I would ask you quite a bit when you were diagnosed. Like, what do you need right now? And maybe with the kids, that's not the right way to go about it. But at least you can talk to your partner about, here's what I need, here's what will make me breathe a bit easier, and hopefully that will help the kids anyways, regardless of if you tell them or not.
Yeah. And what helped us a lot also with the kids in that moment, just reflecting back, was asking people to take care of them, to pick them up from school, to have extra play dates, just to give us that extra space at home to process what we needed to process, to talk about, to sit in silence, to cry about, where we just didn't have to feel like, at least for me, I didn't have to feel like I had to worry about
the kids
impacting.
Yeah, that's a whole different episode.
Oh yeah, worrying about impacting the kids. I mean,
But I think with regards to telling your kids or not, we did it. Anybody needs to decide what's best for them. But one way or the other, I mean, if they're old enough to recognize that something is wrong, they will probably recognize that something is wrong.
Well, I would argue that it's not even a question of old enough. They will always recognize something is wrong. The question is, what's the best way for you to box it?
Agreed.
And present it.
Agreed. All right. Tough one, but part of the journey.
Yeah. So many tough moments.
All right. Have a good one. Bye.